Have you heard about Global Poker? Global Poker is the fastest growing card room in the US today, and it's available online at globalpoker.com. Global Poker is a social poker site that offers safe and secure cash-out options by using their unique and patented sweepstakes model. Players can compete in big guaranteed tournaments, jackpot sit-and-goes, or cash games featuring Hold'em, Omaha, and even Crazy Pineapple. Don't wait. Check out Global Poker today.
Poker Stories is an audio series that features casual interviews with some of the game's best players and personalities. Each episode highlights a well-known figure in the poker world and dives deep into their favorite tales both on and off the feld.
Hello and welcome back to Poker Stories, a podcast brought to you by Card Player, the Poker Authority, and hosted by me, Julio Rodriguez. This is episode number 69, and it features high-stakes German superstar Steffen Sontheimer. Now, Stefan is just 28 years old, something you can easily tell by how well he is able to recall hands he played years ago, and his first live cash didn't even come until the summer of 2015. In fact, it wasn't until a year later that he started competing in the high roller events. Now, 3 years later, Stefan is one of the biggest winners in poker history. He now has more than $13.5 million in career tournament earnings, which is good enough for number 44 on the all-time money list and number 6 in Germany. His run really started in 2017 when Fedor Holz went on Twitter and told the world that he was about to start crushing. Holtz's prediction came through, and Stefan started final tabling high roller events at an incredible rate. In September, he made 4 final tables and won 2 events at the Poker Masters to earn the purple jacket for overall champion. He also final tabled the 6-figure buy-in high roller for 1 drop at the World Series of Poker Europe Series. He finished the year with $6.8 million in cashes, 16 final tables, 3 titles, and a 9th place finish in the Player of the Year race. And just last November, Stefan won the $250,000 buy-in Super High Roller at the Caribbean Poker Party for $3.685 million. But it hasn't always been smooth sailing for the man who goes by Goose. In this interview, you'll hear about the downswings. And Stefan was also very open and honest about how the financing for high rollers works and how the players get put in. Anyway, that's enough intro. Here's my conversation with Steffen Sontheimer. I'm here with the one and only Steffen Sontheimer. Did I do that right?
Yeah, perfectly.
Exactly. We've been practicing.
We were working on the first name in the German way, but that's fine for American viewers.
I'll take it. How you doing? How's life?
Good. Right now I'm a little tired, but overall I'm super happy because it's my last day in Vegas. I'm flying back home tomorrow. I was just here for 2 weeks, just playing the tournaments I really like, so I enjoyed it. And now looking forward to having a great summer in Europe.
Same as you did last year, right? 2 weeks in, 2 weeks out.
This year I only was here for the last 2 weeks. It was like my first, sounds stupid, but it was like my first shot at just spending whole end of May and June in Europe, because there was no Super High Roller Bowl in end of May this year. So that was my shot, and I made use of it, had a great time, had a great summer there, and then I was here and had a great time too.
It seems like you weren't the only high roller who took off a big chunk of the summer. I was just talking to Sam Greenwood, who did the same thing. I think Bryn Kenny showed up for like the first week and then bounced the rest of the time. Was this a thing in the high roller community to avoid the series this year, or is everyone just feeling burnt out?
I mean, for me, it's just no way I'm staying here for 4 or 6 weeks, and then it's always a schedule thing. And for me, the schedule was so great that the most interesting events were all within two weeks, and I won't fly. I mean, it's kind of stressful. So, like, staying here is not like being at home. It's super cool and interesting the first time, but when you're here for the 12th time or something, it's not the same. And then you have to think about.
You've seen all the shows, did all the dinners.
Yeah, kind of. And then you think about the business part of it, and it just doesn't make sense to fly over to play a $500 super 30K runner tournament or like a 1K and that stuff.
I want to go back to the beginning, when you first started in the game of life. Tell me about growing up, Germany.
The game of life started in the beautiful Gensbach, the Pearl of the Murgtal in the Black Forest.
Okay.
So it's,
Pearl of the Murgtal?
Murgtal is like the Murg Valley. It's a river there, so it's like a beautiful area within the Black Forest. So there are mountains. It's like you have the river there. It's like all small cities.
So you weren't a city kid?
Not at all. Yeah. I will never be one. And it was beautiful. Like my childhood was just about my friends. Going to school, my family, doing all kinds of sports. I pretty much tried everything and usually stick to one too many of those. Like having like 3 things at the same time, like every evening. Pretty much.
Every season was a new sport kind of thing?
No, like sticking at 3 things at the same time. So like I had to do I help out my soccer team on Saturday, or do I play that table tennis match with that team, or there is a tennis tournament going on there, like that kind of stuff.
And you excelled at most sports growing up, right?
I don't know what that means.
You were better than most.
Well, better than amateurs. I always stick to low leagues in that small town. So it's like nothing special. But if you want to hit me up for any kind of sports, I guess I fit in there. It's fine.
And what did your parents do?
My mom is working for a German TV channel. Doing documentary, very boring stuff for me. My dad is in the truck business, working for Mercedes. It was interesting stuff that came up because when I finished school, he went to India for 4 years or 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Where I spent some time as well. Now they are living in Japan right now, in Tokyo.
Oh, wow.
And so I've been there last year too, and that's it's cool. But it's his last 6 months now, I guess, and then I'm looking forward to how that situation will be. Chilling at home, I've never seen him doing like that, or coming up with new projects.
What's the retired dad gonna be like?
I have no clue. He doesn't have any hobbies. His hobbies were like his job and sleeping on the couch.
Maybe model cars or something. No.
Yeah, probably stuff like that.
All right. So, what were you getting into back in the day? What was the plan growing up?
Did
you have a plan?
I did not have a plan. I still don't have a plan until now. That was always kind of
You've
trouble
done pretty
I had.
well for no plan.
Yeah, but I'm my career is not designed by a plan at all. It's all randomness pretty much. And my plan was not having one. I always knew what I'm good at, pretty much school, knowing my background, knowing where I'm good at. I always had the problem of not knowing what I really want. Okay, I'm good at that, but I'm not really sure whether I would enjoy that. I had that the first time when I had to choose my subject for university, pretty much.
Yeah.
I had do I want to study math?
Well, how does that work in Germany? You basically show up as a freshman and they're pick a career, and that's the track you go, or do they let you take a few classes first, or?
After school you decide a whole major you want to study. It's either engineering, or it's math, or it's physics, or it's whatever. That was the stuff I was thinking about, and I always had just math. Okay, that's for the real nerds. I would be good at it, but it's I won't enjoy it. Physics, well, those are for the even more nerdy guys. And I'm definitely a nerdy guy, but not like that. I didn't feel like it. Then it was engineering. Okay, someone who does that should probably have fun repairing his bike by himself at least, and no way I'm doing that. What do I have my dad for,
Yeah.
Or
he needs a hobby anyway.
Yeah, I like the birds. Was the electro stuff, fit with that stuff. That's a friend of mine was doing that. I'm well, that was the stuff I hated in school the most.
Yeah,
I was good at it. It's okay, but I don't enjoy it at all. And then I went for business engineering, which is kind of the business side, and a little the engineering side, which is okay. In the end, I didn't choose anything because in there you have everything a little.
Yeah, you got a little bit of both worlds and never really chose.
Yeah, and then when I got my bachelor's degree, and when I had to choose now what to do for the master, where you specialize a little more, poker came in my way, so I never had to make that choice.
So you never had poker before that?
Not really, like playing for pennies online.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, while I was studying, I played like maybe up to 50 cents, $1 cash, or maybe a little higher in the end.
Well, how did you first even come across poker? Was it like a buddy who was like, hey, come to the home game, or?
It was we had like home games running like during school time. I don't know, once every 3 months or something, playing for €2, kind of a cash game where the blinds went up. Like if I think back of the structure, like it was like a mix of cash game and tournament, and everyone has heard of something and didn't make sense at all. But we were playing for like $2 or something to have fun and drink cocktails.
Yeah.
But yeah, then a buddy of mine told me, I guess it was 2010 or 11. There you can get 50 free bucks to try online, and they give you like strategy and stuff. So that's what I did, like playing the good old NL2, 1 cent, 2 cent, starting with the short stack strategy, sitting there with 20 bigs, following just the easy rules. Like when you have an open ender, you bet 2/3 on the pot, on the flop.
Oh,
like,
you had that stricter rules for it.
Yeah. If you have like, you had like starting hand charts for positions. Yeah, like you can rejam that stuff. But like, all that position stuff was like new. And I face queen. Let's go. Yeah, whatever.
Exactly.
And then, like slowly but kind of steadily moving my way up there. You can really see in my grades at uni actually when I started focusing and a little in different directions. But
well, I was about to ask, like, what was the turning point where you went, okay, this could be profitable? Maybe not a career, but like, if I study this, I can make some money.
That came slowly. I never thought about like doing that professionally. It was like a hobby. I played other video games before, like Warcraft 3 I played, or like random shit. I was never good at anything, but I had fun. And then there was...
Poker to you was like Warcraft. You basically treated it like a video game.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that. Like the money was just like a high score pretty much. I never cashed out any. So
yeah, you just see how high I can get my score.
Yeah, like if there are next levels, and there are infinite levels above, so you want to go there. And there was that point where I pretty much decided, okay, I will stop playing those other video games because I make like certain hourly in that one, and actually it's some kind of real money. I don't know when that was, but that definitely happened. And then the real turning point was when I had no clue what to do after I finished my bachelor's degree and got that message from Fedor Holz in January or February 2014, like, I like what you write in that 1 or 2 poker forums, and you seem to be a smart guy. I would like to have you around when we go to Canada to grind Scoop. What about that?
You'd never met him before?
No, never. The first time I met him was Toronto airport. So I was like,
Is this how Germans make friends? That seems really odd to just be like, hey, I read what you wrote.
That's not how Germans make friends. That's how Fedor's aggressive approach at like going after people he wants to hang around with.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was like, okay, fits perfectly my schedule. I just, had my bachelor's exam or something, whatever you call it, in March, and we were flying in April to Toronto. I never played tournaments back then, but hanging out with those guys.
But you were established as a player online. You were playing cash, right?
Yeah.
Had you already had 2 years of Supernova Elite at this point?
No.
Okay.
Not a single one.
Okay.
Nothing. Like I had maybe, I don't know, 80K to my name, something like that. Grinding.
So you're still pretty new. It's just,
yeah.
He saw something.
Yeah. I was kind of a big deal in that pokerstrategy.com German. Like I think I did like 2 or 3 strategy videos for them, for example. And yeah, so that name was out there. But yeah, then we went there, and it was like
you, Fedor, and who else was in the crew?
The weirdest moment, arriving there at the airport. They were just buying monitors in the Future shop in Toronto, and then they picked me up, and it was like 4 or 5 guys I've never seen before. It was Fedor Holz sitting there in the back of that van, looking like an 11-year-old kid. He probably was like 13 by that time, but. Then there was Rainer Kempe, who finished second in the Sunday Million like 2 weeks before. Then there was Ben CB. I don't know whether you know him online. Like sit and go crusher, playing everything. I guess he was the richest I had to look up to at that point of time. And actually in the car there was Robert Schulz, who was grinding WSOP every year, live tournaments. And that was a good mix. And then the first moment I came there after a 12-hour flight. I was so done, and those guys started discussing hands from Reiner's heads up in the Sunday Million, which was like, to me, I don't know, like kindergarten kids discussing hands. Like, that was for me tournament poker in the first thing. Like, yeah, but you know, what if he calls that? Like, in a like very, very low level, they were discussing hands, and like not the way I was thinking things through. And I was like, what did I get myself into here?
Yeah.
And then we started getting to know each other better and grinding, and like, well, that was actually pretty cool because everyone had another view on poker, and like, you had a much. I mean, I imagine coming from cash games, you know, you have a much different set of skills than just somebody who's used to dealing with 10 big blinds all the time. I mean, it's definitely different games. I always played 100 bigs, but it teaches you kind of a way of thinking, because I mean, back then I would just say that it's just true that cash game players were specialized on one thing, and that makes them better in it, right? Tournament players are obviously better in like 20 bigs, 10 bigs, ICM situations, but they don't have their one thing where they really, really know what they are doing. That back then. I mean, now it changed maybe a little, but that is what I felt like. And getting to know like all those ways of thinking, I try to describe it. Like, I was always thinking about my range. I'm not that overconfident guy who is like, yeah, I'm the best in the world. Like, I want to make sure that what I do is right. Yeah. And I need that knowledge behind it to be sure. And the other guys were all the way, like, just 180 degrees the other way. And they were like, they only thought about what is this other guy doing and playing their hand. No, just like making one assumption and going after it. Yeah. Like, for example, I remember one exact hand that took place, actually. Like, I open raised the cutoff with 6-7 suited. Okay. Small blind 3-bets. We are deep. I call. Flop is ace, king, queen with the flush draw.
Great flop for 7-6 suited.
Fedor stands right behind me. This guy checks. And I'm like, okay, I think about what do I want to bet now? Probably stuff with equity, like not thinking about blockers too much on the flop already. So I think in like, different lines I want to take, and no equity at all, no improvement chance at all, not even a backdoor flush draw, is for me a great line to put in the check bet, right? Best bluff for the river, and until then, if he bets, I don't have to fold any equity. That's great. Yeah. So I check back. Fedor behind me drives crazy. Like, he doesn't understand it. Like, how can you check back there? Like, a term they always used was like, the people are doing this and that. And he was like, if the people check here, they will always fold by the river. Like, always. Because it was not a thing on a drawy board, ace, king, queen, to check something like aces, which would be kind of standard today, I would say. Yeah. And I'm like sitting there like, I have no clue what the people are doing. Yeah. I tried to make a strategy which makes sense for myself, you know.
Yours was also more risk averse, right? Yeah. Because you don't have to fire more than one street.
If he is wrong, he loses infinitely. Like,
exactly.
It's like he pretends to know that the other guy is always taking rock in the rock, paper, scissor game. I don't know. You know? Yeah. So I want to do a good strategy, and if he's obviously right and he counters it with paper, I mean, he's printing money. But if this guy is actually not playing rock and he's is playing scissors, he's fucked. So yeah, you know, that was just like two worlds meeting there, which I guess was, I mean, everyone's telling that story.
Did you pull each other towards the middle, or how did it work out?
I mean, everyone now has those different views to make his own mind up, pretty much. So that is like where the whole German high roller crusher scene like started. That's like, but you can imagine there was a
well, it sounds like you guys have different approaches to the game. Is that true, or are you guys
to start off? And now I guess we all know like how the others think, and well, the game evolved too. So it's not obviously, like the people are still doing this and that. So you know,
the people are a little better.
People are a little better, so your strategies have to be a little more complex than. Yeah. Bet because he will fold.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so funny that he was like so black and white about it back then. Yeah. Let's talk about your first live event. You know, it was at the series, the first live cash we have on record for you is 2015. That's okay, let's go back a second, because I think I got to list some stats for you. You have 13.5 million in earnings, and you are, let's see here, currently 43rd all time, and your first live cash was in 2015. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought about playing live too much because I used to grind the Supernova Elite with 8 Zoom tables at the same time. That's a different speed.
Yeah.
You can imagine that I'm getting bored at the live table, definitely. And,
Did you have trouble with tilt issues and patience?
Not at all.
Or?
No.
Okay.
I know my strategy. It's just the waiting. What do I do in between hands? 3 minutes waiting. I could play another 200 hands in that time.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah. Well, and then I'll.
So what do you do at a live table now? Just twiddle your thumbs? I mean,
I'm more on my phone than I should, but I'm more relaxed about that.
Yeah.
So it's fine to chill. I guess depending on my mood, I like to talk a lot as well. I just had a great table in the 10K 6-max. Super fun guys, guys I've never seen before. One I had a French guy tomorrow. I had Victor. He was very talkative as well. He was a great guy. We had Asian guy who was having the time of his life, getting a 3-bet and triple barrel bluff, showing deuce 7 off through, and then we had Daniel Negreanu coming to my table, and I just had a great chat as if we were having tea right around in the afternoon and just chilling and talking.
Is that a better environment than the high rollers with all your buddies?
Well, actually, the high rollers are more fun because you know people, and it's you cannot really say it's more interesting people, but you have more in common that you can talk about. I feel when I'm sitting
there. But
there,
the fact that there's more money on the line make it less,
not at all,
or more serious.
You should just go in the area one time when they run those 20 people, 25Ks or something. That's the best atmosphere you can imagine for poker.
Yeah.
Just,
people playing for millions that don't look like it.
Yeah, that's insane. I was never scared of getting robbed. We had that here now in the WSOP, or hearing the stories about it. I look like the poorest student on the streets all time, and I won't change. So, but that's great. I get along with it. Now, thinking back, my first live tournament was actually in March 2015, WPT Vienna. I was invited by Fedor to come over to his place, spend a week there, and he made me jump into it. Yeah, I remember getting...
And it didn't go well.
I lasted 1 hour. I remember my very first time I open race ace-3 suited and get min 3-bet by former German soccer star Sergei Barbaras. That was something.
Yeah.
Good story, and we got so wasted in the players' party the next night. So I had a good time. And then, 2015, you mentioned that one. I just came here with buddies for 2 weeks to grind cash. Not for making money, just for the Vegas experience for the first time.
Yeah.
And we played 2-5 in the area, drinking 10 Coronas every night. And then there was the 1.5K 6-max. This is the one you want to play, right?
Yeah.
If you love playing and you try pretty much your second live tournament. And I had a deep run, made day 3. I still know how I flipped that away. Queen 9 suited versus 8s. Small line versus cutoff rejam against, who was it? Chip leader. I can't remember.
I can pull it up, but I don't have internet in here.
Yeah, that's fine.
But either way, another 6 months before you cash, and then, a couple small things, and you go back to the series. You go back to Vegas the next year, 2016, and all of a sudden you're in high rollers, cashing in these 25Ks. I remember seeing your name pop up in these 25Ks at the time going, who the hell is that guy? Where did he come from? He has no other results before this, or at least live results, obviously. Was that weird? Just
not
jumping
really
in at the highest level?
Not really. I was playing the highest level. It was just online.
Yeah.
So I did, for me, it was interesting how to approach my first summer playing the bigger stuff. Is it, I was that unknown guy. And people can imagine, okay, he's hanging out with Reiner and Fedor and et cetera, but it took me 1 week to figure out, okay, in the high roller, it's good for me that no one really knows who I am online, and no one knew at that time. So it's I know pretty much all the stats. I played cash with Justin Bonomo, I played sit and goes with...
You knew them, they didn't know you.
Yeah, I know their stats, and I know, there are leaks at that point of time, and there were leaks, so I kind of felt having an advantage. The one thing is that, the live component I was unsure about. So I was that one guy not wearing sunglasses, but like wearing those hoodies, like hiding myself and not even looking for live tells myself. That evolved a little over time. Now they're way more confident. But so I was just like hiding, playing my game as if it was online. And then, 2016 started with a bang when Fedor and Reiner chopped that Super High Roller Bowl.
Yeah.
And like in those one case, I actually figured out that it's better to be like out there. Like, so I always wore like the Super High Roller Bowl 2016 base cap, told like the whole table the stories of how I was like we were all like in the same room in the Vidara or Aria, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And, like how my buddies chopped that and like told some stories. I'm like, well, fuck. I remember like getting a small blind gets first in, shows me king 10 off and folds to me just because of the stories.
I'd be terrified.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to play. Oh, that guy? Wait, you know Fedor?
And actually, it's better for me when
you.
they not play than when they play badly. Like, so it's
Well, that's interesting that you mentioned your image there and how you were hiding before. Yeah, because I don't feel you as a hider at the table.
No, not at all. Like, not anymore. Now it's just like, it's better when I can be sure that they know me than if like I have that spot where I have no clue whether he knows who I am or not, whether he approaches me like a random American or Euro reg, I don't know, or whether he approaches me as like, oh, I know him, like I better be quiet and don't do a shit and play tight ranges, or like whether he is that type of guy, like, oh, that's one of those high rollers, I'll try to own him just once and go crazy.
Yeah.
You know, like you have all those certain people, so I try to talk to figure that one out. But
yeah. At least that way you know where you stand in their eyes.
yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I was talking to Dominic Nietzsche on the podcast and about his approach to these tournaments, and we were talking about live tells and stuff like that, and his attitude was basically like, it's so far down the list of importance, people just aren't playing that exploitatively at the high stakes. But you mentioned live tells, and I'm wondering if that's something you incorporate into your game.
Well, I was more talking about like the fact of like being scared to give away live tails. That is when I started my career. And
the people who like cover up with the scarf to hide their necks,
like,
and yeah.
I was like that, and now I think, well, I'm fine. I know what to do in certain situations where live tells get the thing, and actually I deviate a little from my online strategy to not have so many black or white situations. So this is where live tells matter. When I see that, there's no reason to stare me down for 30 seconds. You won't see a shit. Like I either have some equity, or I have a very strong hand, or I have like a value hand, but I do not really want to get check raised. Like that's like, it's no black or white. I can have anything. It's not like I'm
So
bluffing.
there's no point in even looking at you for a tell, basically.
Like in those spots, when it's like I triple barrel and I jam 2 times the pot all in, I either have the freaking nuts or I'm full of shit. This is where live tells matter. And this is the spots where I have kind of a routine what I'm doing to be pretty sure that I'm not giving anything away.
Yeah.
And the other way around, this is exactly the times where I try to pick up on something. I'm not like, oh, on the flop he throws his chips in the middle like that. I think this is all storytelling from back in the days, and that's bullshit. Maybe to like...
Now you're starting to sound more like Dominic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I have a like little more, how you call it, broken down view on all the things, not just like live tells is a thing for sure.
Yeah.
And there are some people I want to hide a little more against than other people. And like for example, like just Fedor staring at you all the time is kind of making you nervous a little.
Yeah.
And like against him, I would be like still now, like he's a little out of practice, but I would still hide against him when I play like, I don't know. I think he changed a little too, but like 1 year or 2 years ago playing Jason Kuhn, he was just always staring at his chips, making up his mind, like looking down while thinking. And you can see that he's just thinking, going through the decision, and like not even looking at me. Even if it's like he is lost and looks for the last hope pretty much to get an idea what to be doing. But like, or I don't know, Sam Greenwood is just always looking down as well.
Is that why the high rollers prefer 8-handed tables? So they could all have the elbow space to lean up and dominate the table with their presence?
No, not at all. Like they
because
would.
There's a lot of like hardcore starers in the high roller world. People who will look you down. I mean, but it sounds like you're saying that's not really necessary most of the time.
No, it's just like it's maybe a little about making people uncomfortable. I think it works in the small events, like Foxen steer, for example. I would never, like, I mean.
Well, it helps also when you're built like a football player.
yeah. He looks strong, like literally. So, I don't.
Well, people used to say the same thing about Ivy. Ivy wouldn't talk at the table. He wouldn't have a conversation. He would just stare at you down, and people were intimidated by that back in the day.
If you get it to a point where people don't want to play you, that's great for you. Mm-hmm. If you achieve that with the steering or with like Fedor high roller stories, same thing. But that's not a thing in a 25K. I won't fold like a cutoff open race versus him because I feel. I don't feel confident when he starts staring at me, like, why? Like, that's bullshit, so.
Do you remember feeling any nerves at this time when you first started playing high rollers? Was putting up 25K, 50K, 100K, was that different at all? Did it get the blood pumping, or was that gone by then?
I mean, the first high roller I played was the 25K in Miami, where it just flew over spontaneously, and it was easy having, like, especially Fedor and Reiner around, because they were playing that stuff already for a year, and they were winning those and crushing those, and it's like, well, I know from online, I'm not worse than them, like, we have different specialties a little, but back then, Fedor was asking me for all 60 BB plus advice. So what should I do at the table? Yeah, they are. We say in German like they are cooking with water also. It's same thing. And sure, the first time, I remember I made the final table there in Miami. And played like an absurd hand against Nick Petrangelo, where he kind of owned me. We were like both full of shit. He check raises me. I float him with full of shit. I bet the turn, and he check raises me again with full of shit. I was like. I was full of shit. I felt like he's full of shit too, but he went one street further. And like, okay, maybe I wouldn't have played that way, And I was like, I don't know.
That was the inexperience at that time.
Maybe, yeah. Or like I better let it go because I felt I was super nervous. But then that's so quickly, like especially in good atmospheres. Like we played mainly the Aria 25Ks in that summer. And that's like the most casual atmosphere, and everyone is having a great time. So.
What about when you're three-handed and the money's getting big up top? Does anything kick in? Nothing?
It's different.
You gotta understand, for a guy like me, it's hard to believe when there's millions on the line. That
there is not really millions on the line. That's the thing.
I guess that's true. Yeah,
it's different. I would get that if I make like a main deep run.
Yeah.
If I have like a not even like EPT main is fine. If I 5K, I have 100% on my own, maybe some swaps, but then it's like you're playing for money for your friends,
Yeah.
And that pumps you up as well. And then you play for like $1 million for first, and you go there. That would pump me up for sure. If like those 40 runner fields, where I'm not having 100% in a 25K, it's the daily business pretty much. Yeah. So I'm maybe playing like making 300K or something on first. Which is obviously big, but it's like we are playing those day in, day out, and it's actually a little sad. I told that, and like I think in the Joey podcast as well, where it's like you see that there are not really emotions involved. Like I won that 250K party thing, and it's like it looks like I'm not even happy. I told him that was more the relief, like from being biased of running bad the whole year, that I always felt like okay, I have the big chip lead now, and Ace King versus Ace Queen, but I feel it will be coming anyways.
Yeah,
that's what you like. What it feels over the year when you just like bubble every second tournament.
Well, before we get to the downsides and then the ups of Bahamas, let's start with the upsides of 2017.
Yeah,
because there's a tweet from Fedor out there that basically says, "Watch out for this guy. He's about to fucking crush." And you were around. You had cashed. You had made final tables in the high rollers. But you weren't winning, a bunch. It wasn't like you were Dan Coleman at the time or Fedor or Bonomoing it at the time. He just had a premonition, I guess. And then, obviously it worked out. You got yourself a purple jacket.
Yeah, well, I'd say, this is like, it's good for storytelling, but taking things for real. I think I was, after getting used to this live stuff, I was definitely one of the, like, kind of best players out there. Like in 2016, I mean, I think I'm not like too biased in those things, and I can tell them the way they are.
You could say
So,
the facts. You were definitely one of the best players in the world, but that doesn't guarantee success.
Yeah, I mean, everyone is telling the same. So I think like I definitely was not running well in 2016. Like I had those 4th place, 5th place finishes, and I know how I get it in with 80%, and like shout out to Igor Korganov, or like I don't know, like the first one I got it in with like 94% pretty much for the win. Getting 3 out there, but I don't want to cry around. That was like 2016. I knew that I'm pretty much there, a little on, like probably somewhere in the top 10. Fedor knew it, and then I started, like I made that final table in the Aussie Millions as the chip leader. Didn't even cash, like having 3 all-ins, slew 50, 50, 40%.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, and like, okay, let's go from there. And then like, it changed, you know? And I ran hard, like even the summer here was not too great. And then I started, like, the first real tournament I won was that Poker Euros in Velden. And then I cashed, like, everything I played. Like, I went to Montenegro, made the final table there, like, all those trips where it's just 1 or 2 events, and you make the final table in the main. Then I went to Rosvadov to play a 25K. I got 3rd in that one, like, just playing that event. Then it was Poker Masters. Well, I ran them all over, you know. That was the Sun Run that I was waiting for.
Let's talk about Poker Masters. Event number 1, you finished 4th for 200K. Event number 2, you win it for 900K. Event number 4, you finish 5th for 117, and then event number 5, you win it again, 1.5 million, and they give you a purple jacket.
Don't forget event number 4, which I bubbled.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, you obviously, you know, ran good and played good. You got yourself I always ask people who have a bracelet, where do they keep the bracelet? I don't know. Where do you keep your purple jacket?
It's like in my parents' place in a wardrobe somewhere.
Oh, really? Just in a
Yeah.
closet? You don't have it like framed or anything?
No.
I imagine it's not part of your wardrobe rotation.
No, it's not. Like I think about it from time to time, like whether it's, but I don't have the space like in my place in Vienna to like put something nice out there. Like if I had a place like Fedor, for example, where like his trophy place, it would fit perfectly. Like just in the back of it would look great.
Yeah.
But yeah,
If he had one.
if he had one, yeah. Better luck next time.
Obviously, you know, that goes well for you. Breakout year, you crush it, everything goes well. Talk about 2018.
Yeah, first 2017, like again, like that's what I mean. I appreciate that sun run, and it was a sun run. Like and then I finished the year actually with that 5th place finish in that 600K in Rosvadov for 800K. And what I felt the best actually is what made me get so highly rated is pretty much the biggest sun run when you look away from the from all the like results. Is that whenever you've seen me on stream, and I played on stream a lot, I looked like the biggest genius in the world, because I either got like super easy spots, or I like all my bluff catches were right, and all my bluffs went through. Like this is something people see it and think like, oh, you are so great, and in the end it's just sun running like range wise or spot wise too.
So this happened to catch all the good moments.
Yeah, that was like like until now. You can check out any stream. I look like the biggest genius on the table every time, which is definitely not the case. I look like a fool in some other spots, definitely. And then there was like 2018. You know, 2018 started with that interview of Daniel Negreanu saying, "Oh, I think Steffen Sontheimer is the best in the world right now." Right? You know, it's not like you feel pressure or anything. It's just nice. I mean, I wouldn't think at that.
But when you hear that, are you like walking around with an extra pep in your step? Does that even matter to you, or?
I mean, it's cool because I know, well, I get some publicity and people think of you like even higher. But in the games I play, it does not matter, because Daniel Negreanu is not the guy who can choose pretty much who is the best No Limit Hold'em player. I mean, no one can, but it's just like the loudest voice out there. And well, he has a good idea. He like so much respect for him, how he figured out that he was kind of an underdog. He worked hard and he got much better. So that's that was great to see. And then I just had a horrible 2018 until some point. Like
it wasn't the pressure to live up to Daniel's.
I think I played well actually 2018. Maybe I could have worked a little more.
Well, listen, you were very, very honest about your summer, especially. You tweeted a photo of your buy-ins that summer, you spent $2.2 million in high rollers that summer alone. Obviously, $1 million of that was one tournament, but that was shocking. That
I mean, that's a stupid term, but that's poker kind of, you know. Like I felt I guess everyone out there knows that feeling. You play a tournament, you feel like you're making good decisions, then you get to a certain point, and the first flip you're out. You know, like I remember those things. I mean, I pretty much remember any hand of those bust outs. Yeah. The ace queen versus sevens versus Dan Smith in the million for like what was it, like 3 times starting stack at that time, which is kind of massive. King 10 flop, still decent. Brick, bye. You know, like, and then seeing those two sun runners fighting each other, winning every flip for the last 1.5 regarding 3 years, Fedor against Justin. Like, I mean, did you see that hand with the 10s versus ace king versus ace 5 from Fedor? I didn't have one of those on like a final table yet, but it's like insane. And then like Justin Super High Roller Bowl that year, which was like, that was the start of it, the Super High Roller Bowl. I had a swap with Christoph, for example. Justin was the bubble boy 94% of the time until that ace hit the river, you know, like stuff like that. But it's okay, you know, it's part of the game. I'm pissed for a day, and I'm pissed again when it happens again, but like it's the next day, it's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm not like overexposing myself or anything. So it's not a great summer when you're here to make money, and you lose everything, but you gotta accept it. Yeah. And you gotta find your ways to either live with it or like how you can still like be happy. You know, I'm in a great position. I can do whatever I want pretty much. And yeah, first trip was actually still fine. I came for Super Bowl 2 weeks. And then I came back the second trip not having a single cash. I don't know, like the 1,000,001 drop. Okay. I had what did I have? I pretty much bubbled the main, or like, I mean, I was in kings versus nines with for like big stack 100 of the money. Then I late dredged the aria and pure bubbled that one. That was like, okay, in your face.
So you weren't even busting efficiently. You were you were going deep and not making any money.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, that was like, I was really pissed and I was over poker at that point of time. So I guess you can see the next one I played was, I took like 1 month off and I played only half the schedule in Barcelona, then in August. And then I didn't come to Poker Masters. That was for other reasons, but
that was surprising.
Yeah, everyone was surprised. Everyone was expecting it, but it's just like, it was, again, scheduled in the 1 week of the year I want to be in Germany. Yeah. It's always the week of like where my like little town has this yearly party pretty much where I meet all the friends from back then. Plus it's the weekend of my birthday every time.
Oh, nice.
So it's like, you know, it's a kind of my birthday party with all my friends from back then every year. So
it's a good reason.
Yeah. But yeah.
You know, there's a quote from an interview out there where you say, it feels you're talking about staking basically, and how it's better when people have 1%, you can give out 30K chunks as opposed to sending someone you haven't even seen before hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in my mind, I went, are people backing this guy who he's never even met before? You know what I mean? Is that like pretty common in the high stakes world where anonymous money comes in? Where
I mean, it's not anonymous money, but it's like from people that made money in poker before I even started. Yeah. So they are chilling. They're maybe still playing some online. I know probably the screen names of them, but I never met them personally. Yeah. So the guy who handles it all, I know him personally, and he's a good friend. But like some of those, you know, I've no, like, yeah, there's nothing but like that business going on pretty much.
Well, I mean, the Americans had some sense of that as well back in the day. I remember when it was backs and sheets and they were backing a bunch of people, they often didn't even know the players that they were backing. You know, they just knew a screen name and that's all they was. Yeah. And they'd be like, wait, what's your real name again so I could track this? You know, like.
And yet now for a long time you have that crew around Ike who like swap big, and he has the action pretty much. You can see like the winner photos. Like check out the winner photos. You can see who has action and who doesn't. And I mean they crushed it like with a Justin run, and they all had their pieces. So good for them. And we had it before. I mean, we came up there not having like those American bankrolls because they played like 10 years longer already.
Yeah.
So we always had smaller pieces, and like the run that Fedor had did not make us like super rich, everyone, that you see there. I just told you when I started 2014, 2015, it's not like I made millions there. I play 500 Zoom and I play some 25Ks with like little action. And then
even Dominic, when Dominic won the one drop for like 4 million, he said it was more relieving than exciting.
Yeah, and he was excited. That was a good one too because like everyone had action. Yeah, I was talking about that 250K party thing there where it was like Bitcoin was going down.
Man, so you do always have to factor in the Bitcoin mood. I mean, this summer Bitcoin was up a little bit.
So. You feel it so much in this, like in the staking business, because who makes money when Bitcoin goes up? It's those people that are willing to gamble on it a little, and those are the same people that are willing to put money in staking because it's kind of a gambling too. Like I'm not really into it, but it just. Like when it went up and up, I had like 5 different groups. I could book like all action of 100K.
Yeah.
Now I have like one group, so that's different, and that's why I had to look like for all those 1-2%ers, and like you want to have that, which feels great when you're winning. As I said before, if I would make like an EPT main or something, that thrills you. Like if all the action is for your friends and That's good.
Obviously, we have to get to the Bahamas. Last November, you won that for $3.7 million. You mentioned you weren't excited at all. Yeah, I mean, did it feel like, okay, I can breathe, the year is saved? Or was it more like, finally, the cards went my way again? I remember this feeling, or...
Yeah, like the whole tournament felt like, I mean, I had a really bad start in that one. It was down to half starting stack. And then, what was it? I had, I don't know, 60 bigs left. I open raise kings. Stevie 3-bets, who is pretty light, and is sun running that year. Easy 4-bet. He flats the 4-bet. Flop is queen jack 10. Like, okay, he has jacks, he has tens. He probably doesn't have ace king in that spot. He does have all the ace queens. He does have all the king queen suited. He does, well, one left. He is all like king jack suited probably, pocket nines, So I pretty much ripped just pot to, no way I get out of the 10, and he snap calls pocket aces. And I'm like, okay, this is how my year goes until the 9 hits on the river. And this is when it all started. I pretty much didn't lose a pot after that. But it was all that feeling, okay, like there must be the point where they put this shit in my face again. Still until the heads up, And that was more relief actually. And then, well, obviously it was nice. Afterwards.
Well, at least Stevie got it back a little later,
Yeah.
He can't complain too much about that.
He got it before, he got it back afterwards. He can't complain at all. He's fine with it.
That guy took the whole summer off, shows up and won a bracelet. So that's how that works for him. I wanted to bring up a high roller survey we did, a card player. We asked all the top players, who the best players are, who the most overrated, who the funniest. You guys can find that on cardplayer.com. But one of the questions we asked was, which country produces the best poker players? And we only had 64 votes total, and yet 22 of them went to Germany, despite the fact that only 3 Germans took the survey.
Oh, that's strong.
Right?
I don't I responded to it. I guess I don't even know why.
Well, I didn't want to out you as a survey taker.
Yeah, I don't.
But if you don't mind outing yourself,
yeah, I don't remember what I said.
I deleted all the answers. I don't have anybody's answers to track
that's
back to me.
Interesting. I mean, actually, that's a kind of bias as well. It's just like people are looking at those high rollers because there's the big money.
Yeah.
Right? But it's just. I would say like the Spanish crew is pretty much as good, And the Brazilians, they have a very strong crew. Much respect to them. They are like, I love all of them, or most of those grinders I know. And it's just that there's that backing crew that has the money to put the best players in the high rollers. If that backing crew was Spanish, we would probably see all the Spanish people in the high rollers. But if you don't have that backing crew behind, it's just tough these days to get in 100K, you know? So yeah, there are good other groups like the Eastern Europeans. I think we can bunch them a little together, but yeah, they have great players too. The UK has great players too. So it's yeah.
But you still agree, Germany.
I mean,
when you look at, obviously we can throw the US out just because of the sheer volume of players they have. But when you look at each country's top lists, only Germany has 10 players above 10 million. You know what I mean?
That's what I just tried to explain.
Yeah. But like even the Spanish, the Spanish have got 4 or 5 guys maybe. You know, you guys have got.
I mean, we will have
20?
one more by tomorrow.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
shout out
true.
to my good boy Hossein Enzan.
Do you have a little bit of a sweat there?
I don't have a sweat, but I like that's like what's the beauty for me. Like there are people out there who need a financial incentive to like really sweat it. Mm-hmm. I love that guy, and I can. You see me on so many rails because people are just friends, and I really sweat for them, and it will be fun. I think the first was final 2 tables. I had good stream action there. Like people were messaging me, we hear you all the time. I was playing the 100K, I busted that one, and then I got totally wasted on that rail of Hossein. I have pretty much the same plans tonight, so
there you go. Oh yeah,
check
he's
out
obviously in a good spot. We're recording this on day 2 of the final table. I don't know when this will come out, but currently he is massive.
210 million. Gary Gates got like 171 million,
and then everyone else has got crumbs.
60, 40, 40, something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. So a good spot for him. Since you brought up since I brought up swaps, we have a question on here. What's the best swap or piece you've ever had of anybody? You don't have to say specific numbers, but
my biggest winning day was the 100K in Rosvedov, November, where I finished 5th, and I guess I had a swap in Dom. Unfortunately, the small one, because he's known for re-entering so much, and it was an unlimited re-entry, and I was so over it that I reduced our typical swap to half of it.
Oh,
but
that's how you knew he was going to win.
I had other swaps on that final table too, so I was sitting there with my calculator just adding up numbers, and it didn't stop. So that was pretty.
But that's pretty common, right? In those high rollers, for you look at a final table, and there's at least 4 connected people somehow. Yeah. People like to make a big deal and claim that there's controversy there, but for the most part, I imagine.
I mean, we had that. I think there's never any evidence or even the thought of some kind of soft playing or something like that out there, but people were complaining about all the Germans winning, which it feels weird. I had that too, where I was sitting, it was EPT Monaco, 50K, where I was sitting on a final table, and the other 4 had swaps, and big swaps, I know that. And yeah, that gives you a weird feeling, so that's it. And people were like, all those Germans, etc., etc. And I was looking at my swap list. Well, can't call out names, but one guy from Belarus, one from England.
I think I know that one.
One from Spain, 3 from the US, and 1 from Germany. Sure, I'm sorry, I'm soft playing my German. That's exactly. So nonsense,
And then at the end of the day, everyone still's playing for themselves.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I doubt there's people out there who have more of other players in the tournament than they do.
That's the one thing I'm scared about when people buy big action. Obviously, I'm 100% sure he's never doing something like that, but just I call that name because I know he has the action. When he has 60% in someone and 80% in himself.
But at least he has 80% of himself to. So if he faces off against the 60%er, he'll bust him.
Yeah, it's like ICM spots kills it. So I at least try to have 2.5 times what my biggest swap is. Better 3 to 4 times. Just to not be in that trap. I know other people that say okay, yeah, but I play the same way anyways, which can be true theoretically, but I think you could try.
I don't think it is human nature to do so.
That's it, right? Because there are spots where you don't know the solution. I'm just honest, and this will be like the case for everybody. When I have like a situation where I have no clue whether ace-9 off, for example, is the call or not, right? It's like either ace-10 or ace-9, whatever. I face an open jam. Well, I call against the one guy I don't like, and I don't call against the guy I like, and that's just like, I don't know better, and that's is pretty much the reason for my decision.
That's something in your subconscious.
Or I can
or if it's the tiebreaker in a decision where you're like 50-50.
Yeah, that's it. Like, and then I can always justify, like, he's such a strong player, I want to increase the chance of him bust. And this is even happening subconsciously. Mm-hmm. So stuff like that is happening.
And this isn't a new phenomenon. This happened back in the day. There's a famous WPT championship 25K buy-in back in the day. It was like Hassan Habib and Tuan Lei, and Hassan was backing Tuan, and they were three-handed together, and it was to the point where Hassan very much wanted to finish 1-2, and they made it known to the table, and it didn't really affect strategy very much, but what do you do in those spots?
I had one
Can
spot
you blame
myself.
Somebody for like wanting to make more money?
I had one spot. I was sitting there three-handed with big ICM, and it was like one super whale and one like, I don't know, little shady rag maybe. Mm-hmm. And the little shady rag, I didn't know him, or I still don't really know him, was like just my impression, asks the big whale, what if we just like say whoever busts now, like we pretty much chop on second, third place to take ICM away. And I was sitting there like, you're just like talking about straight up collusion, which like I didn't put it in the calculator, but they were pretty much like, by making that deal, stealing 25K from me.
In their minds, they don't think they are, because they're just like, this guy's going to beat us. He's the best. And I'm just going to lock up second.
That's like, I didn't know that one, like, rag. I think...
Yeah.
I didn't mind. It's tough. But then I got to be happy in the end that it was on the table and not off the table, because I could adjust my strategy, which was like opening now 40% instead of 80% on the button. It was like... big strategy effect in that spot, but usually in the big Hyros or like Aria casual tournaments, stuff like that, I've like no doubts at all, because everyone, like, you don't make it thus far in the poker community if you don't have 100% integrity.
We have some rapid fire questions to close out the podcast.
Let's go.
Biggest pot you have ever won or lost? Cash or equity in a tournament?
I remember the cash pot where I played super high in the Kings against Leon. His last hand of the night.
This was during World Series Europe?
No, that was February, like Party Millions last year. And it was a TV big game around that darts guy, Michael van Gerven. And we straddled up to insane. And it was like called out last hand of the night. I open raise ace king. Super deep, but with the straddles, it were like 65 blinds effectively. It gets folded to Leon Sukernik in the small blind. He goes in the tank. Rob gives him a little needle, Rob Young, and says like, I mean, what should he do if you just put him all in? We're sitting there like both with 200K, and yeah. He has 10-8 off and rejams to 65 bigs. It's a 393K pot, and I was so scared. Like losing that ace king to 10-8. It was like 65% or something I have. Flop 7-7-6. Turn deuce river ace, and I win that pot. That was the biggest one. Probably like when I won a tournament that got to be bigger in EV, but... That was
sure
the one that felt the biggest.
Right, but I mean, and that's actual money. Yeah. It's way more fun,
Counting that chips out, that felt sick. Like, this is like...
Did you feel weird at all when the guy was... Did you feel like saying something when Rob was, like, goading him into shoving?
It was like a small needle, and then he took another 30 seconds. That was like... was not like Rob's fault. Like, I would do the same thing, for example. That was... No.
The whole last hand of the night thing changes all the dynamics. Like, it's just like... Now it's like a leveling war of like who's messing around, That's pretty good. We mentioned the best swapper piece. What is the weirdest place you've ever played poker for money? You're obviously young guy, so I'm assuming you never had to get into any shady illegal spots while you were playing.
Oh, I remember one. Okay. It was in Dortmund. Mm-hmm. I was visiting a friend, and there was like some kind of underground game going. It was like 1-2, and then I was playing there, and just for fun, free pizza, free drinks. And then he told me there were like infinite people in the room, and he was like, all people combined over 120 years of prison. And they're like, that comment was like, they were all super nice, and it was the most relaxed atmosphere, but I don't want to know like how they made their money. So that was the only time I was there.
Well, I mean, poker is one of those industries where, especially in the high stakes games, you don't know where that money's coming from, and a lot of the times
you get an idea by looking at people, but I mean, you never know.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a high profile case right now in the news. If people want to look it up, of a certain WPT champion who got his money legally. But yeah, he did a good job spreading it around the poker community for a little while.
Yeah.
Who's the best player we've never heard of?
I've heard of so many.
Do you have any buddies who haven't quite gotten the recognition they deserve yet?
Not really. I mean, we have Julian Thomas out there who's not traveling to the US, so he's not really known here. He is really, really good. I mean, he's kind of known, but his name is, I won't say his real name.
Julian Thomas is 21st on Germany's all-time money list.
He's called Wattenlos online. He's crushing online, but not showing up for high rollers or anything live. So, I go with those two.
All right, sounds good. Let's see here. What was your worst job before poker?
I didn't have too many jobs. I went to school. I
never had a summer job as a kid, or did fast food or anything like that?
No, I did my social service, which were like two different things. One thing, I was working for a rehab center, and I did the transport, like getting patients from the hospital over there. That was fine because it made a lot of tip.
They tip you for driving patients?
Or I mean, the patients, like they get, like they have, I don't know, like a knee operation, and then we make them walk again, and then I bring like the old lady to her home where she finally is back, and I carry her luggage
Uber
up there. That's a dream spot. You know? But I had to do this, like I only could do like 50%, and the other 50% was like helping the nurses and stuff, and that was a fucked up job.
Yeah.
Like, much respect to everyone who does it, like it's so needed, but that was not for me. I can't see blood, but I had to
I can't even be in a hospital for more than 5 minutes. When my daughter
you get
was born,
that like hospital smell, you know that?
Oh, yeah.
It makes me sick already.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. It's just, I don't have the mindset for it. Kudos to all of you hardworking nurses out there who crush it. What was, if not for poker, what would you be doing?
I would probably just follow my career path, doing something in business engineering, which is, in the end, I like optimize things. I don't know what's the name for those, just those firms who just go in other companies to make things better there, like stuff like that.
Not corporate takeover, but like it's an efficiency thing. It's like
that would be my thing.
Streamlining and like cutting out waste. Finding
in kind of ways teaching people. I like that a lot.
What was your largest non-poker wager?
Like a bet or something?
Yeah, just money, maybe a side bet, prop bet, sports bet.
I'm not into side bets at all. I mean, I had friends come over to Vegas last year. They were here for work, and they wanted to try all the table games.
Okay.
And we got kind of drunk, so I spent up like $300 in blackjack to 2K, maybe that, or which was clearly bigger. We were in summer of 2016. Lots of side bets we had for bracelets and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So we pulled up, and it was pretty much the Germans were like for Team Stevie against, you can guess, 2016. You remember?
Was that Mercier's year?
Right. We were betting against him, and that cost me some money. Yeah, that was probably the biggest. I guess I lost and we pooled together. I personally lost like 30K or so.
Well, I remember him telling me he was very happy about side bets. I don't know if you bet directly with him or just against him, but he said he did very well in not only on the felt but off of it.
Yeah, I mean, we still think that our bet was okay. We had we had like a draft team, And like everything was pretty much centered around Stevie, and we got like 105-1 against Mercier. I don't know the mixed games myself, but just from knowing Stevie, I wouldn't think that he's like ever a large underdog.
No,
I have no clue.
And according to our high roller survey, he's the best player in the world right now.
Right now, yeah, but it's it's low variance bets, and it's just insane when they hit it, and he makes like 2 bracelets plus a second place. Okay, that's fine. I can take it.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. All right, what is a talent you don't have that you wish you did?
Talent.
Not a superpower. You can't.
Yeah. I think of normal stuff. You wouldn't think so, but if that is a talent, I'm a very shy person actually. Like
really?
Yeah, like you need times like talking to girls, stuff like that. Like I was that typical nerdy guy, like star at the bar, like not even dancing or talking to, like forget about it.
Well, how'd you meet your current girlfriend? Was it like a
we were both
thing?
drunk, yeah. No, actually she's from my place in Germany, so we went to kindergarten together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, one of those stories.
That's how you meet women? You got to go to kindergarten with them?
That's it. Well, then they disappear and you meet them like 20 years later again. And that's
cool.
like, that made it way easier. Like I looked at her like, is that really her? I like her.
Yeah.
And like it felt like I know her already. Makes it easy to,
Yeah, you have at least that hometown connection, right?
Yeah. And alcohol was a big game changer. I'm strong with it.
Alcohol makes you confident?
A little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the table? You drink at any other table?
I only last level beer.
Okay. Yeah, one of the questions on the survey, I think, was, have you ever played a high roller drunk or high? And I was surprised at how many people lied.
Yeah. Well, I never
lied on
actually
an anonymous
never smoked
survey
in my life, but I wouldn't say drunk because I'm a regular, so you need quite a couple to get me drunk. But I've definitely played like a 25K when it got short, and I had like 2 or 3 beer, definitely.
Yeah. Headphones on at the table, yes or no?
Only if Martin Cabrillo's next to me. Now, when like sometimes I check my phone and I listen to something, but I try to keep them away because I think it kind of kills the idea of the game, sitting together and like talking and stuff. Yeah, I'm against headphones. Sometimes I wear them myself. If the table is really boring, like a 1.5K, and I don't know anyone, yeah, okay.
And what are you listening to if they're on?
Random playlist, or I might even like listen to a podcast. I listen to most of the Poker Central podcasts, for example.
Maybe some Poker Stories podcasts?
Probably some Poker Stories podcasts. I've listened to all of them.
What kind of music?
Big mix.
Yeah.
Like really mood dependent. I've like stuff that I cannot really listen to, or like I don't get it how people go crazy about it. But I like depending on the mood. I can go for the wake up and smell coffee playlist on Spotify. I can go for like some rocky type of stuff. I sometimes like the kind of quiet German text music where it's more about like the songwriting. It's like all kinds of stuff.
You don't have like a favorite band or album?
Not really, not at all.
What about movie?
Actually, 21 was my favorite movie for a long time. But
hold on,
it's
because I read the book before I saw the movie.
Yeah?
Yes, I was that guy. Ben Mesrick's book, Bringing Down the House, was about the MIT blackjack team. Which do you know Andy Block at all? No. The poker player. I think he had some connection to that as well back in the day. And yeah, this was the Kevin Spacey movie, so that's
like he was my favorite. I mean,
yeah, he's a little problematic
now. I cannot say that he's my favorite actor anymore, but he is.
No,
House of Cards, I loved it too.
Baby Driver was a great movie.
It's all awesome.
He's
just was the best.
He was a good actor. I mean, he's still a good actor. Yeah. Not a good.
We're just talking about acting, right?
Yeah, just talking about acting. But yeah, that movie. That's interesting that you like that movie so much. Because I guess you hadn't been to Vegas, and it was just like. Exciting,
actually, it was before I got to Vegas. I was like.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you hadn't been to Vegas yet, so it was probably like.
And now, like I watch it over and over again, and then you know all the places. You know how does
you're
that
like, how
feel?
did they go from the Hard Rock to the Frontier, which isn't even open anymore, and then now they're at Bellagio? Hard Rock's not even on the Strip. They're like running across the street.
And that was,
yeah.
I mean,
the only problem I have with that movie is like everyone in the book is Asian. because they're at MIT and they're on
okay.
and they only had one Asian in the movie, so they basically whitewashed it.
Yeah, okay.
So that it would be different if they made that movie today. But I love the scene in that movie where he's explaining the Monty Hall problem. In the school.
That's good.
Yeah, I like that.
I mean, everyone like back in school talked about it like the next lesson pretty much after that
like
film was out. That was
No, you gotta change.
Yeah.
You gotta go for what's behind door number 3.
Sure.
In my brain,
I stay.
Yeah, I still didn't understand it, but I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. All right, we end the podcast the same way every time with a question from the random question generator.
Okay.
You ready? If you had the world's attention for 30 seconds, what would you say?
I hate deep questions. That's way too deep.
Is it way too deep?
Do we have a second chance?
Yes,
I'm not like, world peace, blah, blah, that bullshit now. Like, I mean...
You don't have to be profound. You can make them listen to you sing.
Oh, that's a great idea, but no.
Okay. Let me get to... Okay, this is a good one. If you could disinvent one thing, what would it be?
Oh, disinvent. That's a great idea. That's a great thing. Disinvent.
So it's like it never even happened. And you got to think about the butterfly effect of that.
Yeah. I kind of have baseball in my mind.
You just want to get rid of a sport?
Yeah.
How cruel. It's not doing anything to... I mean, I'm not a huge baseball fan either.
I mean, all the inventions are pretty much cool. Like, they are old guys. They would say, like, fuck internet, fuck smartphones, such a bullshit. I don't know. Like, I mean, the wheel is a great invention. Cars are
taken away guns, but that's okay. You know, whatever.
Yeah, this is now coming back to the world piece. No. Yeah, I go with freaking baseball. We're here in the US, and I hate it so much because it is so boring. I watched one match in my whole life. It ended up 1-0, and it was the biggest time waste of my life.
We feel the same way about soccer, just so you know.
That's okay.
It ends 1-0. Okay. It was the biggest waste of our life. No, that's not true. I mean, obviously, soccer is becoming way more popular here in the States, and congratulations to the Women's World Cup team. But yeah, baseball. Have you ever been to a game?
Yeah, Milwaukee Bucks against something else.
Brewers.
And Milwaukee Brewers. Bucks is something else, right?
Bucks
Brewers.
is basketball, yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the barbecue in the parking lot, though.
Yes. Would you go in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
To the game? That's a cool stadium, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
It was like always like... that was one part.
I'm surprised you didn't enjoy it being there, because to me, I'm not a baseball and TV guy. But if I'm at there...
I was 15 back there.
Okay.
I did not really understand the people. I still it took me 5 years to understand what all that charge. Like I didn't know that word. What the fuck are you guys doing? Like, I don't know. Like, I know charge from like online games.
Charge your phone.
Charge your phone. No, I actually knew it from like car racing games where you charge like your super speed or something.
Oh.
You know, and I was like, what are
You're talking about like when they cheered.
Yeah, that one.
Charge.
Yeah,
that's a weird thing.
I was so confused.
We have so many old
I want to
things,
get it, and when I'm watching a sport and I have no clue. That sucks. Like, I went to a football match and I loved it. I remember that one. I remember both teams with the right names there, actually.
Okay.
Wisconsin Badgers against Western Illinois.
Okay.
That was a great one. 94,000 people in the stadium. So it's like, I'm not against US sports. I love basketball and I've been here to the hockey, but
baseball.
Fuck
Get it out of here.
Reinvent it. Like, disinvent it. Like, kill it.
Yeah. Just gone. Stricken from the memory. What would be the next big sport?
Can't wait for the hate now.
Something's got to take its place. Curling or...
It's an interesting sport.
Pole vaulting or javelin or something.
Pole vaulting is great. I had to do it once.
You had to do it once?
Yeah, I did like.
Did you get over the bar? I would be
sure.
I would be too
like
scared.
240 or something.
240. What are that, meters?
Yeah, meters.
I don't know what that is, and
I'm
bad
like
at conversions.
8 feet.
That's high.
It's okay. Like it was like
to propel yourself up on a bendy pole, you know.
Yeah, it was fine. We had to do it. I was doing like, is athletics the right word? And like I was 14 or something, and my club was always just like training to do everything. I was that tiny guy with no muscles at all. I was good at running and jumping and that stuff. But they made me, I don't know the words, like javelin, I had to do that. I had to throw the disc, and like what's the like
shot put.
That one.
Yeah. The big metal
I had
ball,
to do that. Like it's like I throw it right on my feet pretty much, you know?
Did you do the stutter step Or did you do the full spin?
The step, definitely.
I see those guys doing the spin, and I'm like, oh my god.
And then like when we moved up the age group, it was not like 5 disciplines anymore, but it was 8. And pole vault was one of them. So it was like, next week we have that. We got to train it now, and because you have to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like so many points if you just like make 150 or like the lowest thing you can do.
Yeah.
And
So this is like a decathlon almost. Like you have you have all the sports.
Yeah, I think like maybe it was like 400 meters was missing, and I don't know, like 300 hurdles or something. But yeah, all the sports.
Anyway, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Stefan. Good luck tonight with your sweat.
Yeah, let's go Hussing.
And good luck with your flight tomorrow. Hope you get some nice rest.
Yeah, so I'm still looking for a Netflix series to download for the flight. You got a recommendation?
Well, what have you seen? What did you like?
All the standard ones. I like
You mean like the original stuff that they do?
I mean, the most common ones I like the most, like Breaking Bad, Prison Break. That's like, I liked all of those.
I still maintain, like, Prison Break was not a good show in the end.
1 and 2, like stop after 1 and 2.
Season 1 is the best season of television I've ever seen. They did not plan a show better than that first season of Prison Break. And then after that, they just kind of made it up as they went.
Yeah.
Including bringing back somebody from the dead who didn't have a head. I don't know if you got
I think I stopped before that. I stopped at 4 because it was too stupid.
All right, Stefan. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Sure, it was a pleasure.
That's it. That's the show. Thank you so much to Stefan, who was very kind to spend part of his last day in Vegas with me recording this episode. Stefan is actually part of a group of high roller poker players who are shareholders in Stefan Schillhabel's company, No Limit Gaming, which basically uses the collective poker skills of the group and applies them to esports. Their Twitch channel streams both poker and Counter-Strike Global Offensive, otherwise known as CSGO, and you can check that out at nolimit.gg. Also, be sure to follow Stefan on Twitter at RunGooseRun. That's RUNGO0SERUN. You can also follow us at CardPlayerMedia or at poker_stories. Please go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to keep things international for the next couple of episodes, so you don't want to miss out on that. And while you are hitting that subscribe button, though, do us a huge favor, please, and scroll down on your phone just a little bit farther to the ratings and review section. Now, you would not believe how important these ratings and reviews are to our overall visibility as a podcast. It's really silly. So if you haven't already done so, please take a moment to give us 5 stars and perhaps say a few nice words. If you do that, we want to thank you. So let us know about it with an email to pokerstories@cardplayer.com, and we'll hook you up with a free digital subscription to Card Player magazine. Thanks for listening.